104 to 106.
Cork's Red FM.
Yeah, I suppose, it's a kind of an unusual one, all right. I mean, a lot of focus has to go into it now, before a game, you have to be fully sure of what you're doing, I would say a lot of it is common sense, by referees, I suppose, as everyone sees, some guys are pulling for a hand pass there, whereas other referees aren't, and that's not the way, it should be done, as the fellow said, and I think on the referees' behalf, like, it should be, common sense, and if it's very obvious, it should be pulled, and if not, you work on.
And as a player, is it something that might affect your confidence coming into such a big game like Sunday? I mean, normally you can just go into the game knowing that you play your normal game, but this you're kind of double checking yourself just to make sure you're not doing anything wrong. I suppose the bottom line, as I would have said, there's only one simple way of getting around it, and that's to close your fist and keep it closed, as the fellow said, and for once you do that, you're going to be okay. And I suppose, if you get used to it and get into it and, keep practicing it, I suppose you will get used to it and you'll get into it. That'll be our way of looking at it the next day is, close your fist and you won't get caught, and that's the attitude we'd have the next day, Yeah, no, coming into next Sunday, you're playing a Kerry team who have lost some big players from the All-Ireland final last year. Ty Kennedy, Tommy Walsh and a couple of others as well. Darragh O'Shea, obviously huge players for them. But it's still, looking at the team that played against Tip the last time out, that's a very, very strong Kerry team.
Oh, sure, it's you can't argue with that. I suppose the likes of Donny coming in there now, sure, it's like he's after kind of, I suppose, just like the three players that are gone, just didn't exist when he's after coming in there again. It's like they have a fresh impetus out here since he's come in there. The lads kind of feed off him. He's a very confident kind of guy as well, and that Kerry just seem a lot fresher than they did last year, which is amazing. After all the years they've put down. So there are three massive players, that they're missing, but Kerry are Kerry, and regardless of what team they'll put out, they're going to be hard beating.
Yeah, and what did you make of them against Tipperary? I know nobody's going to judge an All-Ireland championship winning team on a win over Tipperary, but it was a decent Tipperary team who've been coming on a lot in the last few years, and Kerry went up to third-list. It was going to be a tricky game for them, but they were absolutely excellent on the day.
They were indeed, yeah. I suppose people kind of, don't take much notice of them kind of games against, I suppose, the so-called weaker teams. But, every team is coming up to the plate now, and they all are well prepared. And, when you have to go into any team's backyard, it's always going to be hard. But, Kerry, seemed to deal with it very well the last day, and they more or less blew them away, in the second half. And like I said already, they just looked that bit fresher for some reason. They look fresh, and their forwards are going well, and you're simply we're just going to have to be, at the top of our game the next day to get over them.
Yeah, how much have you mentioned the All-Ireland final, or have you mentioned it at all coming up to this game? Because in terms of what's happened in Munster and in the All-Ireland in the last few years, it doesn't really have much relevance.
No, it doesn't. You have to refocus, every year, and what's done is done. There's no point in us sitting in our asses there, I suppose, and thinking of last year, and time is short, as well as you make the most of it, and you just have to move on. It's like anything else. Our sole focus is beating Kerry the next day, and hopefully winning Munster and move from there. Then but it's a big ask. Guys have us as favourites, but I don't see where they're coming from there. They're All-Ireland champions. They're a fresher looking team for some reason. So we're up against a massive task there the next day.
Yeah, they say the only way to recover from an All-Ireland final defeat is by going out and winning one. I suppose that the Cork team of the 80s and 90s could prove that with the 2 defeats before they went on to win 2. I'm sure you're hoping it'll be the same for yourselves.
Well, you always hope, but that doesn't give you a God-given right to win an All-Ireland. People will say, this Cork team deserve an All-Ireland, and a lot of that talk, but there have been loads of other teams, that have deserved All-Irelands and haven't got it, and we'd be fully aware that you have to perform on the day, and that'll be our sole focus, go out every day and perform to the best of our ability, and if we can, we're in with a great shout, but if not, it can slip away again,
Yeah, and you've been involved with this Cork panel over 10 years now, Noel. As the years go by, do you feel extra pressure to try and get that All-Ireland medal, because obviously the time is getting tight, and the time will eventually come where you'll have to hang up the boots?
Yeah, certainly. I suppose you have young guys come in like any other sport. A new breed has to come through, and they have to get their chance. And certainly, I suppose the time is getting nearer. But to be fair, I think even the older guys like Anthony and Graham and Nicholas and Cricky, these guys, they seem fresh and they seem up for it, and I suppose that's kind of what I was saying. Our sole focus is just doing what we can this year, and just solely focusing on that, and we'll forget about next year, we'll forget about last year. It's just this year alone, and thankfully, from what I can see, lads are well up for it and are fresh looking,
Yeah, and there does seem to be a huge appetite there. I mean, in your time involved with the Cork panel, I'm sure you've never seen such strength and depth. And even from your own point of view, I'm sure you can't let the guard down, because you've guys like Aidan Walsh coming on there now who are looking for a place as well.
Definitely, I mean, I suppose for any position on this Cork team, you have, you could have up to 4 or 5 guys, to step in there, and that's, I suppose, it's a huge amount of pressure on yourself to perform in training, which is a great thing. I suppose there's no point turning up to training and feeling that you've enough done. I mean, you have to perform every day you go in there, and every guy is doing that, and that's a great way to have things. But at the end of the day, no good to be performing in training if you can't perform on the day, as the fella said, and that's our biggest goal is that we all perform the next day.
104 to 106.
Cork's Red FM.